Hi.
Hi, this is so exciting.
Well, I thank you for your interest, and I appreciate your dedication, and I'd like to help if I can in my limited way. I'm available to chat for a bit if you like. What's your suggestion here?
It's not about taking steps. It's just about dancing the dance of existence, doing what you have to do right now, and that's how action is done. And
Yes.
I've listened to many of your interviews, many of your lectures, and seriously, I'm really humble. I'm really honored to be speaking to you. I wouldn't be honored to be speaking to, for example, Einstein, because he's one of those people who didn't mind to compromise in favor of politics and stuff. But it's really honoring to speak to someone who has really got it right in terms of science, in terms of spirit, connecting things, and I don't know, you understand what I'm saying.
Well, there's a lot of things that we think we have right, and there are some things we still have to prove.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to make the connection between this, the science philosophy and the technology.
Yeah.
We're making good progress, but go ahead.
Okay. The first question, I would like to get your opinion about, in terms of energy making, it seems that the best way to flow with nature is to follow fractality and implosion. That's at least what I understand from, I'm very interested in Schauberger's work, but I would like to hear your opinion about something. I'm also interested in the work of Keeley and how he worked with harmonics and resonance. And doing that, you tend to create, huge amounts of energy. What's the difference between that and creating energy through fractality and implosion? And are they, because it seems to me that doing that through harmonics, through resonance, is more like creating explosive energy rather than implosive energy. I'm not sure if I'm getting this right.
Keeley was also a hero of mine for many years, and I think the KeeleyNet people do excellent work, and I've talked and communicated with them. I think primarily probably what's missing, although I'm not sure, is the recognition that golden ratio in the power spectra or frequency signature is in fact the evidence of the centripetal and self-organizing forces. So there is much there about magnetic and gravity anomalies, etc. But I suspect that they haven't seriously looked at the implications for golden ratio in resonance.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, did not really see the origin of centripetal forces. Mm-hmm. But that being said, they have expressed interest in my work at various times, and I'm sure there's good people there.
Uh-huh. Isn't, for example, in playing music, you have to go through certain harmonics in order to produce something that's easy for the ear. And probably that has, logically that has to be following the golden mean ratio, the flow of nature, the laws of nature. It has to follow it in order to make good harmonics that feels right. So, mm-hmm.
Well, it's interesting that golden ratio is almost unknown in the music literature, except in what was called the Devil's Chord. It's true that when you create golden ratio in music, you create psychokinesis, mm-hmm. but actually what you're creating is fusion, and that experience can be uncomfortable unless it's an environment worth fusing with. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit of a complicated question. I can tell you, for example, that when you play perfect, this is a friend in Lebanon, we're just doing a little interview. Yeah. When you play golden ratio harmonics, which are perfect from Planck and hydrogen all the way up using a computer, you produce mostly intense feeling of nausea. Whereas if you teach a choir to sing the same harmonics accurately in golden ratio, you can produce intense bliss. Mm-hmm. And so, the golden ratio is a fusion producing wave series, but sometimes fusion is not comfortable if you're in an environment that's not nice to fuse with. like a machine making those harmonics instead of people.
Uh-huh. To my understanding, Keely was able also to manipulate the ether by drawing certain shapes, and through that he was able to make his machines run.
It's true that a microwave and other power spectra of waveguide can create centripetal force. A lot of that has to do with the physics of microwave antennae, which are excellent introduction to ceremonial magic.
Uh-huh. Okay. How about making energy from implosion in the sense similar to what Bedini is doing? I've tried that myself, but I heard you once say that it's something like bleeding the gravitational field, and it's not the right thing to be doing.
I think that Bedini was on the right track. We're now implementing some of those ideas in our hydrogen technology, where the collapse geometry of a square wave pulse during the damping phase, if it's tuned correctly, will become centripetal and a net energy gain, implosive. So I think Bedini was getting close to that, but didn't actually understand the detail. We now think we can actually plot the precise frequencies to optimize that. That being said, your question, it is my belief that the electric geometry of a pine cone gives it a portion of its electric power in measurable wattage that comes from gravity, as you can measure its output voltage. So that pine cone doesn't always check to see if the earth grid wants to give it milk at that place. However, the fact is that pine cones grow best in places where the earth is fractal, which is to say you can see ferns and things that indicate fractality in the electric field, which means charge distribution is high, which means the gravity grid has more inertia available there. So it's not that it's evil to take the electric power from gravity. It is rather that it's a metabolism in a living bloodstream, and understanding how it works is a prerequisite to using it without destroying the source of that blood. The fall of Atlantis is an example of that ignorance.
Mm-hmm. So would you recommend that, because basically the mechanism for making energy that way is relatively easy for everyone to do. Would you recommend that to start with?
Actually, it's not that easy. Architects have been studying how to build buildings for several thousand years, and basically they're still stupid because they don't know how to make a building that gets voltage from gravity.
Correct.
On the other hand, if you constructed a pine cone, you can do it. So obviously it's not that easy. And in effect, it's what we need to do, because otherwise we will lose life force, as anyone in a metal building can tell you.
Yeah. The best way to follow is the way of nature, fractality. Probably Schauberger's work is the best place.
Yes, that's right and very correct, but it needs to be rendered into the kind of detail that can be taught in an electrical engineering class, so that architects and biologists know how to make life. Right now they're being stubborn and stupid.
That's a problem. But everything is open now, and it's not limited to... well, of course, the problem is that's where the financing is. And
actually, the money follows the intelligence. So it's the job is education.
Yeah, of course. If everyone does that.
Yes, I don't see all the architects of the earth who are building metal buildings as evil. I rather see them as stupid.
Yeah, it's ignorance. That's a problem.
It's simple ignorance.
Yeah, of course. Okay, the next question is quite fun. I experiment so much with fasting. What I've noticed is that when I fasted for longer and longer periods, you start experiencing hunger, of course. But that hunger, in essence, when I looked deep into the emotion, I found out that it's mere anger. And when this anger was consumed, the hunger faded away, and in place, a state of bliss took the place, and it even felt physically, in the form of what people would call chi, what people would call organ. But my question here is, it's relatively easy to understand that love isn't really an emotion. it's that state of oneness, that state of bliss. It's the thing. It's not something that has another pole. It's not something that has a dipolarity. It's the thing that connects all. But my question is in regarding anger. Can it be regarded as something different? I'm really not finding the right words for this. I don't know if you're getting my idea. Okay, let me see. Wilhelm Reich, for example, when he created the orgone accumulator, it would accumulate the thing that we would call life force energy. This same orgone accumulator would also accumulate the thing that he would call the de-orgone, or the thing that opposes the good force that builds life, the thing that destroys life. So the question is really, what is this energy that is also accumulated in the same sense in which good fractality charge would be condensed?